to Sunrise Extra on a Monday. If you haven't heard the news by now, actor and comedian Bob Saget passed away yesterday at the age of 65. He was found in his Ritz-Carlton hotel room in Florida. He was doing some shows, traveling the country, doing stand-up comedy, and they say no foul play or sign of drug use was found, so we're waiting to kind of hear. But it kind of sparked us talking this morning about there's been some, pretty high-profile deaths of celebrities in the last couple of weeks. Sidney Poitier on Friday, Betty White before that, and others. But we wanted to kind of zero in on TV dads and comedians and things like that, as Bob Saget, was the head of the household for the show I grew up watching, Full House, TGIF every Friday on ABC, I think. So we want to get you guys kind of thinking and remembering some TV dads. Do you guys have any that are your favorites?
I have a lot.
Oh my gosh, I know. That's what I was going to say. There were so many down through the years. I think one of the very first TV dads I saw back in the day, Archie Bunker, All in the Family.
Yeah. Oh boy, Archie Bunker.
Yeah, that's
and then they had the Jeffersons with George Jefferson, Sherman Helmsley?
Yeah, that's correct.
Helmsley?
I think it was Helmsley.
Yeah, I mean, those were just iconic characters.
As you say that, I think to myself, did he have, I'm thinking, I don't remember George and Louise.
Lionel.
Yes, but then I remember, yes. So I thought of it for a second, but then I remembered, there was the son who showed up in some episodes.
Yeah.
You're right. I always think of, for some reason, the first one that comes to my mind is always Mr. C.
Absolutely.
Mr. Cunningham from Happy Days.
Yeah.
I wasn't even born when Happy Days started its run, but I was, certainly around when it ended its run. It was a long-running comedy, right, for many years. I think it was ABC, right?
Yeah.
But it's just something about, Mr. C always had the right answers when needed. Didn't speak a lot during those shows. Wasn't the star of the show, but when needed, when counted on, he came through.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Rod,
Mike Brady. I'll throw out Mike Brady.
Oh, yeah.
I love the Brady Bunch.
Yeah.
Guy never lost his cool.
He never did he?
I would
he had a
watch it.
reason. All those, well, I say all those women. I guess it was half men, half women. Yeah, okay, all right.
No, but with a house with that many kids, there's no way someone's staying as calm and collected as Mike Brady did, right?
Yes.
I used to watch the Brady Bunch with my kids. My boys are now 14, but when they were like 6 or 7, they were in this Brady Bunch phase. We were watching it on TV Land, and I would watch some of the episodes. I kind of enjoyed going back in time. But then I would also feel kind of bad because I could see my boys seeing this dad react to how those kids behaved, and I'm thinking, man, they probably wish this was their dad. How come this dad never yells the way my dad does? How come he never loses his cool?
Yeah, cool customer.
Yep.
Just this morning, they just released a new trailer for a new show on NBC's app called Peacock, and it's called Bel Air, and it's kind of a new take on the Fresh Prince of Bel Air. So a lot of people think Uncle Phil, who passed away in the last couple of years as well. I grew up watching him. We were just talking about the Cosby Show.
Right.
Phil Huxtable, of course. Bill Cosby has gone,
A little fall from grace there.
Fallen from grace since then, for sure. I saw somebody on the stream say Michael Landon from
Little House
on the Prairie. Yep.
Ooh, here's one list. Frank Costanza from Seinfeld.
All the guys love Mr. Stiller.
A Festivus for the rest of us.
We're fans of his on this show, yes.
Yeah.
Ooh, Jim Taylor from Home Improvement.
Tim Taylor.
Tim Taylor.
Right? Tim
I'm
Taylor.
sorry, did I say Jim?
Yeah, Tim Taylor.
Tim.
Red Foreman. Al Bundy. Al Bundy's name is Red Foreman. Is that right?
No, those are two different mentions.
Oh, two different mentions. What's Al Bundy's name?
Al Bundy was Al Bundy.
But I mean the actor's
actor's
name.
Ed O'Neill.
Oh, yes, Ed O'Neill.
Oh, there you go.
And I think the
Who
Red
played
Foreman
the grandpa in Modern Family,
Yes. So was Red Foreman from Modern Family or that 70s show?
That 70s show.
That 70s show, okay. I didn't really watch either of those.
I
but knew he
cannot
was from
believe
one.
this list I'm looking at lists Walter White. Is one of the best TV dads. I guess he
Breaking
did.
Bad.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah. Breaking Bad, Walter White.
Stanford Walker, Dick Van Patten of Eight's Enough. Yeah, going back a little ways.
Just hold up for 1 second.
Yeah.
Breaking Bad. I have not seen the series. I only got about 8 episodes into the first season because I was late to the game with Netflix, blah, 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 blah. Anyways, I have enjoyed the episodes I did watch, and it seems to me like he was doing everything he was doing because he was trying to
he loved
protect
his
his
kids.
family.
He
and
just got
save
way
his
off
son.
track.
Yeah.
But he did.
Heart was in the right place there.
Yeah,
make
there it
meth.
was.
You know what? The bigger issue for me, and we can kind of run through this list of all-time great TV dads. We could probably fill 20 minutes just rattling off names. But to me, like the bigger story is like when a man like Bob Saget passes away. And you know, I don't want to take this into a negative in any way, shape, or form. But no one at the time of his height was ever saying, "Man, Bob Saget, one of the all-time great actors." But he had 2 great runs. One on that TV show, obviously Full House, and then he was the original host of America's Funniest Home Videos.
Oh, right.
Oh,
Which,
yeah,
you
I
know,
forgot about that.
And that show, I think, is still on.
Huge hit.
Yeah.
You know,
And Carlton hosts.
Tom Bergeron did the bulk of it, but Bob Saget started it, and Alfonso Ribeiro,
yeah,
he's doing it now. Anyways, Bob Saget had
America's Funniest Videos.
Yeah,
two huge hits, and so we felt like we knew this guy to some degree.
But wasn't it fun? Don't you remember, like, the first time? I remember some news articles way back in the day of like, oh, you think of Bob Saget as this wholesome, you know, never swearing, whatever.
Oh no.
And then and then it was like, oh, have you heard his stand-up act, or like, you know, met him in real life, and you know, and his stand-up was raunchy, or had, you know,
what was the name of that documentary, Drew? I know you'll remember it. It's supposed to be about the filthiest joke in the world, and they had all these comedians riffing on that. Do you remember?
I don't.
Okay, I'm going to look it up.
Heard of it.
I mean, I was like, oh, really? God, I got to hear this. What is it? I thought it was the dumbest thing I ever, and not funny. But he was in there doing exactly what Nina was talking about.
But I just remember how shocked I was at like, whoa, you know, like this is him on camera, and you just think that's how somebody is, you know, and then you hear him talk, or what he talks about, you know, in his stand-up is a totally different thing.
I can't picture him having a potty mouth.
Oh my gosh,
right.
His whole act was
potty mouth.
His whole act was outrageously
It was
filthy.
supposed to be kind of shocking because of you know, his Full House character.
Okay.
And I'll tell you, there was another show that he appeared on as a guest star later, or in more recent times, I should say, Entourage. In some of the later seasons of Entourage, he played himself on the show because you know the show was about some guys that were trying to make it in Hollywood. And they befriended, I think they had the same agent as Bob Saget. And Bob Saget, every line he had in this show was filled with filth. He was perverted. He was over the top, you know, vulgar. And like you said, to see Danny Tanner behave this way was completely like threw you for a loop.
Okay, it was The Aristocrats in 2005. This documentary about the world's funniest dirty joke features over 100 stand-up comedians and performing artists discussing and telling the joke, which wasn't funny.
The joke wasn't funny?
But that's what I was thinking of. Yeah.
Had several people mention the rule of 3, undefeated. Sidney Poitier, Betty White, and now recently Bob Saget. Lost his last name.
Right.
But remember, to me, it's famous people, right? That rule of 3.
I know what you're going to say.
This all kicked off with the great John Madden. So unfortunately, we're up to 4 now.
Oh, that's right.
No, I mean, I consider him a TV personality for sure, right? One of the all-time
Or famous. I mean, to me, I always look at that rule of 3 just as famous people, more or less.
Right. It is interesting, though. My wife texted me while I'm shopping in Safeway last night that Bob Saget died.
She texted me
like, I'm thinking to myself, like, again, you know, she could have texted me about any news headline over the weekend at any time. She texted me about nothing all weekend. But she texted me about that. Like, that was important enough to, you know, it's just one of those things where when it happens, it is,
like, oh,
for some reason, a shock. And for me, I found it surprising that he was 65. And, you know, when I think about it, I go, okay, that makes sense. He was doing Full House, I want to say, by like 88 or 89. So it would make sense that he's in his mid-60s, but you kind of forget about the years that you don't see these people. And we haven't really seen him a lot in more recent years, so it's almost like their years end when you last saw them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I still kind of picture him as this, you know, 40-something.
You time warp him.
Yeah.
So wait, Jennifer Taft says Dexter is a dad. Is that right? I was just telling
some
Nina
of the final
this morning.
seasons, he has a baby.
I was just telling Nina this morning that I've tried to start that series twice and cannot get through the first episode. He just gives me the major creeps. I can't do it. Dexter is a dad.
Our director, Brian Matthews, just got in my ear and said, who was Tony who had the daughter? I assume you mean Tony Maselli.
Tony
Maselli.
Oh, who's the boss?
Who's the boss?
Yeah.
Yeah. Samantha. Jonathan.
Wait, Samantha, Alyssa Milano was his daughter?
Yeah.
That's right. I did love that show.
Connie Staub Miller, Andy Griffith, Opie's dad. That's awesome.
Yep. Yeah, Richie, or who was the actor who played Richie Cunningham and Opie? Ron Howard.
Howard.
So he had 2 great TV dads. He had Andy Griffith and he had Mr. C. Mr. Cunningham.
And really one of the great, you think about child actors that went on to have amazing careers. I don't know who you would put above Ron Howard.
Right.
Yeah.
As far as being the TV stars, shows he had, and then of course being one of Hollywood's more famous directors.
And he has a daughter who's an actress now.
Yeah.
Oh, Bryce Dallas Howard, yeah, the red-haired gal.
Brian Matthews, our director, again in my ear this morning. He's whispering many sweet nothings into my ear on this Monday, but he just put in my ear the name of a dad. I would think Brenda, Nina, Rod, one of the early great dads in TV history, Ward Cleaver.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Ward Cleaver from Leave It to Beaver.
I can still watch that show if I'm flipping around and it's on and enjoy it, you know.
Devin Haskins, our reporter, says Jason Seaver from Growing Pains.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
What's that dude's name?
Alan Thicke.
Yes.
Who passed
Alan
away
Thicke.
as well.
In the thick of the night.
Some time ago.
That's right. He was good looking.
Kind of quick.
Doesn't he have a
good
son
hair.
doesn't Alan Thicke have a son?
Yes,
who's like
he's
a
a
recording
singer.
artist? Yeah.
Robin.
And got a little touchy.
Oh, see, I don't know
Yeah,
that
he
story.
did. He got in a little bit of trouble there.
I have to be able to
Tim
think of
Allen.
another TV dad, for goodness sake.
Let's go back to Lauren Green, Bonanza. We brought up Michael Allen.
Oh, yeah.
Michael Allen. Michael Landon, we brought up, pardon me. Yeah, Lauren Green from Bonanza.
That's
How about,
good. Did anybody say Tony Soprano?
no, but that's a good one. I like that show. That was one of my all-time favorite shows. no
Homer
doubt.
Simpson.
Homer Simpson.
One of my favorite TV dads. Homer Simpson. Man, can you believe how long The Simpsons have been on?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
kind of.
Record breaking.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Record breaking.
Yeah.
And I've never been into it.
I remember my dad and I would like rush home he would pick me up from basketball practice in like 6th grade when it first came on, and we thought it was so funny, and my mom thought it was so stupid, and so we would rush home from basketball practice and like we bonded over
The Simpsons.
The Simpsons and like Blazer games and watching always those two.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
One thing I thought was interesting, though, about The Simpsons, am I right about that? I didn't follow the show, but it seemed like at the beginning, Bart Simpson was the star of that cartoon, and then at some point it morphed into Homer.
Homer, yeah.
Like they recognized, like, Bart's not the attractive character here. Everyone loves Homer.
Yeah, remember they had the song, do the Bartman.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought the actor, I don't know his name, the actor who played the dad in The Wonder Years was like, that was just a really well-played
Fred
dad role.
Salvage's father.
I don't remember the dad. I loved that show though.
How could you love the show and not remember the dad?
Because I just remember Fred Savage and Winnie and
The mom was
kids.
blonde and very sweet and kind, and the dad was sort of a grump. But when, again, it was one of those classic dads where, you know, kind of always moody, never really smiling a lot, but when he had to give the piece of advice to one of the kids, he had that piece of advice to deliver.
Yeah.
I can picture him visually, but I can't think of his name.
Oh my gosh, Rod, I'm looking at this. This is a way back. So I'm talking to you, my friend. Steve Douglas, My Three Sons.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That's crazy. And Ricky Ricardo, I Love Lucy, is on this list.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Our colleague Devin Haskins trying to get us on some kind of meaningful track.
Yes.
Why do celebrity deaths impact us?
Well, we think we know these people, right, to some
Right.
degree, and largely they're people that we spend a lot of time with, at least, you know, in front of a television set or whatever, listening to them, and
Really
I don't
good
know.
memories.
Nostalgia.
That's it. It's good memories.
Yeah, it's nostalgia and going back to a simpler time maybe, and yeah, when we were young or happy and
I mean, for me, when the great John Madden passed away, part of me, I mean, obviously, I shouldn't say obviously, but I've never met John Madden, but you know, part of me wants him to know how grateful I am to him because he made my life that much more enjoyable. He provided countless hours that made me happy
Yeah,
watching him. Yeah.
that's exactly the
the
reason.
last person that so yours is kind of John Madden recently, and the last person I had that feeling with was Anthony Bourdain. I watched every episode of his travel show. I've read all of his books, and even like his mannerisms and stuff reminded me of my dad. But his message of, you know, getting to know the world and other cultures and having empathy and traveling and seeing things for yourself, you know, opens your mind so much. We just watched a documentary on him that I think you can purchase on YouTube or HBO and all that stuff. But I cried during it. And I don't know, like he was kind of the last person that, you know, affected me
And
in
I
that
think,
way.
you know, when it's a tragedy like that, when somebody takes their own life or it's
Yes.
sudden or there's an accident or something like that, it's just really shocking. I think that really sticks with you too.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh man, he had no idea, you know, like how, yeah, especially if it is a suicide, like in Bourdain's situation.
Right.
you know, they just didn't realize their impact.
A couple of our viewers are chiming in with the to answer the question, like, why do these celebrity deaths impact us so much? Debbie says, as far as the TV dads go, she says they were always the dads we wish we all had, right? And part of that is true. We don't know these people. We don't really know the actors who play these people, but we know the characters. Yeah. And for the most part, we were all like, man, that was a pretty cool dad, right?
Well, with the exception of Archie Bunker, maybe.
Maybe. But I'm sure there were some tender moments. Was it Gloria? Is that the daughter's name?
Yeah, yep.
I'm sure there were some tender moments in the All in the Family episodes where he was a good dad to Gloria.
Well, that's what made it work. They would showcase that somewhere in here was kind of this big softy that wasn't connected to the rhetoric that he spouted, if you will. Yeah.
Yeah, he had terrible views on life.
Right.
And terrible positions when it came to certain topics, but I think he did have a heart.
His family, absolutely.
Willie also chimed in on this idea. He says, not only actors, but also a lot of times rock stars, when they die, it hits us hard. He says, because of the memories, like we talked about. He says, those people were in our car during our teen years a lot of times, growing into people, so we had a big attachment to a lot of them.
100%.
Rock stars.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I felt when Prince died. I was like, oh my God, like just growing up loving his music.
And some of these people I think we miss for the rest of our lives. Certainly for me, I will miss Johnny Carson for the rest of my life. Loved watching, I mean, for 20 years, that's the last thing I did before I went to bed, was watch Johnny Carson.
Yeah. I did that too. I remember I wasn't allowed. My mom used to at one point was working a late shift.
Did you have to sneak it?
She wouldn't get home till like midnight. And of course, the Tonight Show started at 11:30. And I'm probably like 88. I don't know, 14 years old, 8th grade, and staying up to watch that monologue. The opening of the Tonight Show, and then like I could hear, like you could see the car lights coming around the back driveway. Like, time to go upstairs.
Run, You're out of breath, laying in bed.
Good memory.
I used to do that with 90210. For some reason, my parents let me have a little tiny TV in my bedroom, and it was like near my desk where I was supposed to be doing homework, and I was supposed to get my homework done before 8 o'clock or wherever, when 90210 started, and then it was Melrose Place.
Yeah.
And I never stayed on task, and my homework lasted until 1 in the morning or something, and so I would turn the TV on real low, and then I could hear the creak up the steps and turn it off and do your homework.
Yeah, it was 90210 from 8 to 9, then Melrose Place from 9 to 10, and then the 10 o'clock news.
Place. Wait, so 90210, but Melrose Place, remind me, who was on that?
Heather Locklear.
Okay.
And wasn't it a spin-off from 90210? Like they kind of, or at least they sort of launched the show. They launched the show with like an episode on 90210 that introduced a couple of the characters. I think that is true.
Yeah, I mean there was no other tie other than they were both in LA, and they were salacious and juicy.
I think Kelly from 90210 had some sort of love affair with one of the main characters on Melrose Place before they took off that show. Yeah.
You have a good memory, my friend.
Yeah, it's
I know,
sick.
how does he do this?
You are encyclopedia.
Mr. Mitchell on Dennis the Menace.
Oh my gosh, Dennis the Menace.
I remember Dennis the Menace, the old
I don't
black
remember
and
his
white
dad though.
one.
I can
remember
picture him,
Dennis
but I
and
don't know
Tommy.
what his name was.
You can think of the neighbor right there, Mr. Wilson, wasn't that the
Yes.
guy? Hey, Mr. Wilson!
Oh yeah. Gosh, I used to watch that like Nick at Night. They would have all those old shows. Green Acres.
Drew, what's another TV show that had a famous Wilson as the next door neighbor?
Well, that would be Home Improvement.
There you go, bingo, very good, sir.
You only saw his eyes
Yep.
over the fence.
Kind of fun. I love that
that
show.
actor.
I thought that show had a lot of cleverness about it.
I'm getting gypped here.
If you're that actor and you have a resume, do you list like, well, the top of my head was on Home Improvement for 9 years or something like that? Like, can you really even give yourself
Well,
a
he
full
was like
credit?
pretty famous. Hey, we have a first-time Sunrise Extra viewer, you guys. We got to give her a shout out. She's
Who's
watching
that?
us on YouTube. Her screen name is Goldfish Mama. Good morning, Goldfish Mama. She's watching us from Grand Ron, Oregon. It's wet and rainy.
Nice.
She says, this is my first time catching a live show. I love it. Welcome. We're
Thank
here
you, thank
every morning
you.
live at 7 a.m.
Veronica, back to the rock stars and the performers, said Elvis hit her hard.
Oh, yeah.
Death of
was a
Elvis.
big
Oh my gosh, when Elvis passed away, I was 15. I was working at the Hilton Hotel in Missouri as a bellhop. And the lady who was, I think, in her 50s at the time, that ran the gift shop, oh my flippin' gosh, she wore
like
nothing
crying?
but black for 3 solid months, and she took like a week off.
Wow.
She was devastated by losing the king.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Jeez, really?
Hey, it affects everyone differently, right?
Yes.
Patience and understanding, my friend.
All right, you guys. Well, thank you for.
Sharing your memories
Yes,
with us.
Yeah,
thank
finish
you
your
for
sentence?
finishing my sentences. I was just reading something that popped up. Okay, you guys, have a wonderful Monday. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Bye.